Alright guys, welcome back, and we're right where we left off. So we have Gagarin, Tereshkova, Hong, and Vamshi. So we'll go this way down. Vamshi first. And not many have had more than 2, but this one has 4. I mean, not many have had more than 1, and this one has 4. Only 3 planets here. Pregel. Pregel is an enormous terrestrial world with an atmosphere of chlorine and ethane. Its surface is mainly composed of sulfur with deposits of aluminum. No landing has ever been attempted. While scanning the planet Pregel, you discovered several marker buoys orbiting it. Chief Engineer Adams secured some high-res optical images of the buoys, which appeared to have been neglected for some time. Each one was marked with the Betica colony insignia. Almos. Almos is a hydrogen-helium gas giant with traces of sodium darkening its atmosphere. Not much else. Maji. Maji orbits the Vamshi binary giant stars. Vamshi A is a blue star of spectral class A4111, which burns at half again the temperature of Sol. Vamshi B is an aging red giant of class M53, I guess, I don't know, over 220 times the size of Sol. Maji has a thin atmosphere of methane and carbon monoxide. The difference in temperature between the hemisphere facing the suns and that facing deep space causes constant wind, stirring the silica and sodium dust of the surface. Unsavory characters from the terminus systems occasionally use Maji for forms of cruel sport, dumping slaves, hostages, quarreling shipmates, or even, when bored, vicious animals on the surface. One must kill the other before they will be rescued from the lethal radiation of the giant star. Wow. Okay, I believe we do have a side thing down here, but I don't remember what it is. What it is. Should take Rex and Patty. I hope I don't regret it and get something to where I can't open it and I have to go back for Garrus. Rex, you got a lot to update, buddy. Let's go ahead and update his armor, actually. Can now equip heavy armor. Okay. So since he can equip heavy armor now, maybe we should go into fitness. Increases health damage reduction. Further increases health damage reduction. And then barrier. Stasis unlocked. Advanced barrier. Okay, so we got Geth Outpost, anomaly, and debris. Go down here first. Geth Outpost will be last. This place would be terrifying to live on. You just walk outside and you're like, oh, it's coming at me. Now, if you saw that one, it'd be nice, but that's like if the sun was our moon. Oh, we got some minerals over there. Large deposit of thorium. Yeah, and I don't know why my companions are now only getting 2 upgrade points instead of their normal 4. It's really weird. Is it because I now have a bunch more stuff that I can upgrade, so I get 4 and they drop down to 2? I don't know. What the hell? Ah. Ancient debris. Ah, god damn it. I accidentally pressed the wrong button. I went down to press X and accidentally, and I wasn't paying attention there. Turn insignia. The strange-looking sensor has some ancient graffiti scribbled on it. It appears to be marked with the Edescent colony insignia. But, yeah, I went down to hit X, and my thumb hit the square button first, and I was like, whoops, and then the next one I just didn't pay attention. Odd skull. This massive skull is scored by deflected mass accelerator shots. The xenobiology files in your hard-suit computer can't identify the species. It must have been brought here from an unknown world. Ooh. What the? Really? Can't walk up that, huh? Okay. A lot of stuff in this one spot, and then just like way the hell over there. Got another mineral deposit up ahead.
Heading to position.
Beryllium. Another mineral up ahead. Also enemies. Magnesium. Actually... Okay, so now... we'll do it that way. Does she have anything? No. Recruit. What the shit?
Three more of these outposts left to clear out? This should be fun.
Alright. Last two of Shock Troop. Makes the real burst available for use more often. And then Assault Training. I think. Once we finish Assault Training, if we don't get anything else, I'll probably go into Armor. Okay, but I believe that's everything here. We started right here, I believe. So we'll go this way just to see. Yeah, nothing. Well, Dan didn't even have to go into a place on that one. Okay, Hong. Ooh. Okay, a couple more planets than last time. Trigger. Trigger is a tiny ice dwarf with a trace atmosphere of xenon and krypton. The frozen surface is mainly composed of water, ice, and ammonia. Cryovolcanic processes are gradually repaving the surface with sheets of fresh ice. Detected a deposit of lithium. Okay. Pommel. Pommel is an enormous terrestrial planet with a very dense atmosphere of carbon dioxide and sodium. The surface is scorching hot and mainly composed of sodium oxides and deposits of nickel. There's evidence that Pommel was once covered with broad, shallow seas. Should a probe ever be sent to the surface, a check for ancient fossil life might prove valuable. Casbin. Oh, that's the one we can land on. Matar. Matar is a terrestrial planet with a thick atmosphere composed of nitrogen and krypton. Its frigid surface is mainly composed of sodium oxide with deposits of copper. Because of noxious surface gases, explorers are warned to use extreme caution. Matar lacks a magnetic field. This makes it useless for discharging FTL drive cores in orbit. The energetic particles of solar wind from Hong strike the upper atmosphere directly, ionizing the krypton. This gives the planet its distinctive minty green-white hue. Matrix writings. Scans of Matar revealed debris from a destroyed Asari freighter. Further scans uncovered a body which was brought on board. Dr. Chakwas examined it but learned nothing about its origins. Among the Asari's personal effects, however, was one of Matriarch Dillinaga's writings. Thishaka. Thishaka is a standard hydrogen-helium gas giant. In the past, it was often used as a drive-discharge point for pirates raiding human settlements from the Terminus systems. In 2178, the Alliance set up a network of covert sensing devices on Thishaka's moons. Recordings of pirate FTL exit vectors over the course of 6 months led the Alliance Navy to 8 major pirate anchorages. Since the Thishaka raids, no ships from the Terminus have been reported in the Hong system. Okay. And Casbin. Casbin is a classic pre-garden terrestrial world with conditions similar to those on Earth millions of years ago. Its hot, humid atmosphere is mainly composed of nitrogen and carbon dioxide. An increasing amount of the surface is covered by simple lichen and algae. Should no unexpected calamity occur, these tiny plants will change the atmosphere to an Earth-like nitrogen and oxygen mix over the next few millennia. Due to its potential for future habitability and sapient life, Casbin has been designated a sanctuary world by the Citadel Council. Landing is prohibited by law, and any disturbance of the fragile young ecosystem will result in harsh fines and imprisonment. At present, the planet is passing through the debris trail of a long-period comet. Well, we're landed anyway, I guess. Okay. Actually, I should have chose, like, Caden or Ashley so I can get rid of some more armor and weapons. So what? Eliminate all 4 Geth Outposts identified in the Armstrong cluster. The outposts are located in the Gagarian... Okay. So this is the one we're doing. Geth Outpost. Go to the anomaly, debris, and then anomalous signal. We're allowed to land because we're going to take out the Geth. Come on. Fine, I'll go to the green spots. Okay. First I was like, have we been here? ID tag. Buried under the beacon was an identification tag for Captain Thane. There's no indication of why it was hidden here or who buried it in the first place. Man, I'm still so mad that we couldn't... Whoops. Wrong button. Get tunes. That seemed like a very, like, important thing. Oh my god. I hate this planet already. I'm pretty sure we have to stay, like, at the top to get up there. Why does this shit have to be in on a mountain? There was all that flat land. Oh shit. Okay, it's at the bottom. Anomalous signal. Really? So. It's annoying because it doesn't have to be this tedious to get to drive. But at some point they're like, this needs to be really tough and annoying. The Geth array is transmitting regular data bursts on an encrypted channel using the Alliance's own FTL combos. It's not clear where the data is being directed, nor the content of the signal. Turn off GethCom. Those have big ass metal spikes coming out of there. Got a mineral deposit right there. Gold. Whoops. Jam the signal all you want, I found you. I did not get that dude. Oh shit. That scared me. Let's destroy the damn ship.
That's number 2. Let's hit the next phase.
God damn. Okay. Salt trading almost can max it out. Resist recharge time so adrenaline bursts can be used more often. Okay. Resets all the cooldowns. Alright, that's the second one. 2 more of those to go, and of course it's the other 2 solar systems. Tereshkova. Got a little carbonaceous asteroid. A dark asteroid of mixed carbonaceous materials. While scanning the asteroid field in the Tereshkova system, you picked up some anomalous readings. After some daring maneuvering by Joker, a small team was able to recover some debris from one of the large rocks. Among the items discovered was a League of One medallion. Okay. Patamalrus. Patamalrus' atmosphere is very similar to Venus in terms of pressure and temperature. Unlike Venus, however, Patamalrus' atmosphere has a significant quantity of oxygen, both free and bound in sulfur dioxides. The sulfur is largely composed of magnesium with deposits of carbon. It is possible, if unlikely, that simple life may be developing on Patamalrus. Computer modeling suggests that the powerful solar winds from the Tereshkova stars will blow off Patamalrus' atmosphere in a few million years, lowering the temperature on the surface to the -70s. While scanning this planet, you found a small deposit of iridium. Thygis. Thygis is a terrestrial world with an atmosphere of chlorine and krypton. The surface is mainly composed of silicates with deposits of carbon. Thygis has a low mass for its size and is tidally locked to the star Tereshkova A. The temperature difference between the sunward hot pole and the dark side cold pole creates constant gale force winds across the terminator. While scanning this planet, you detect a large deposit of mercury. Let's see. Entabar, which is the one we land on. Mawanor. Mawanor is the second of Tereshkova's outer worlds. It is essentially a rock of unremarkable ores with some deposits of water ice, but no minerals of value. The frozen surface is composed of silica. Like the gas giant Marlin, it is thought that Mawanor formed too close to the Tereshkova stars and was thrown outwards by gravitational effects. Computer models suggest it will be ejected from the system in a few 100,000 years. Damn. Sucks for them. Samarlin. Samarlin is one of Tereshkova's 2 outer worlds. Significantly removed from the rest of the system and with unstable elliptical orbits, it is thought they may have formed within 3 ALI of ALI. No, it's AU. I don't know why I thought that was ALI. 3 AU of the binary stars and were hurled outward due to the instability of such an orbit. Samarlin is a hydrogen and helium gas giant with significant quantities of sodium in the upper atmosphere, giving it a distinct gray color. Hansalura. Hansalura is a small hydrogen helium gas giant. It has unusually large amounts of nitrogen in the upper atmosphere, which glow purple when ionized by the solar wind. Hansalura's convenience as a place to dump drive charge has left its orbit littered with debris dumped overboard by visiting crews. Assholes. And Anabar. Anabar is a cold terrestrial world with an atmosphere of methane and argon. Its frozen surface is mainly composed of iron with deposits of magnesium. The world has been noted as a possible target for long-term terraforming. If the atmosphere could be increased to the thickness of Earth's, the glacial average temperature would rise by 10 degrees Celsius. Anabar's combination of low temperatures, high-speed surface winds, and low visibility make it dangerous to explore on foot. Let's land. Okay. So if this is like the others, then we won't need to land. Or we won't need to get out. So... For... Oh damn, we didn't do... weapons for Rex. Damn it. Let's take Ashley and Caden. Get their armor and their points, because I haven't done Caden in forever. Or Ashley. Yeah, Caden has 23. Let's go into Sentinel, Medical, First Aid, then let's go with Decryption, and then Electronics. Then Ashley has 39. Okay. Soldier, Fitness, Assault Training, Combat Armor. Then Assault Rifles. Okay. Can't use any, buddy. Or she can use a good amount though. Shields are actually pretty good on Duelist 4. Even better on Guardian. Mercenary. Cool, red. Ooh, the shields just take a big hit though. Okay, let's keep Titan. We'll keep Titan and Duelist, I think. Why is this one different? Oh, medium and heavy, okay. Thunder. I don't know if I've equipped Tally with the better one yet, and she's the one that mainly uses snipers. I don't think he does. Okay, so Anomaly, Debris, then we got the Geth Outposts. course, hopefully none of the anomaly or the debris has stuff I need Tally or Garrus for. Oh shit. I honestly didn't think I'd be seeing a Thresher Maw on these planets. Oh, we got the tentacles out. Shoot! Oh, repairing, I forgot. The vehicle and the human corpses show the telltale signs of Geth weapons fire. The Geth have been mangled by the Thresher Maw. At least they got what was coming to them. The hell? Prothean ruin. Searching the ruins, you discover a Prothean data disk. It must have been dropped by one of the Thresher Maw's many victims. Cool. Actually, I like that armor. So now we go over there. There we go, minerals. I was gonna say, it's so open with nothing. How could that be? Magnesium. The hell? Oh, really?
Redeploying.
I feel like the gel should be used to bypass only when you can't do it yourself. Oh, that's why we're kind of close to the outpost. I don't think I can hit stuff from right here. Good thing we have so much Omni Gel now. What the hell? Jesus Christ, well I should have saved it at some point I guess, because now I'm going to have to start this entire planet over. Oh, god damn it. I don't know what they were hitting me with that was just destroying my vehicle so fast. Not even the giant robot thing could do that. God damn it. Oh cool, I get to do this all over again too. That just goes to show you when the game is shit at saving, man, you gotta make sure you do it yourself. Cause now I gotta do this all over again. What do they even use, to be honest? Pistols and assault rifles. I don't know what the hell he uses. Okay, buddy, I don't know what the hell you use. So you're just sticking with what you got, I guess. Oh god, I gotta kill the Thresher Maul again. For some reason. There's so much Omni Gel right now, we'll just go ahead and repair right now. And the only thing that sucks about fighting those troopers that are behind that barrier is you can get a couple of them without going inside the barrier, but you have to go inside to get 3/4 of them. I don't know, when I was so out of Omni Gel, I didn't think I'd be able to land on planets and do anything. But it didn't turn out to be. Okay. And lastly, Gagarin. Okay, no asteroid belts. Pressa. Pressa is a relatively small hydrogen-helium gas giant with large amounts of hydrocarbons in the middle layers of the atmosphere. When the Krogan rebellions ended 3 millennia ago, the Turian chief of naval operations, a distinguished soldier named Mercury, Mercury, declared his imminent retirement. He disappeared into what was then uncharted territory. It was only 200 years ago that his ship was found on the surface Pressa's largest moon. It had landed gently and been deliberately shut down. Of Admiral Mercury, however, no trace was ever found. That one looks cool. And it's of course the one we can land on. Interrumgon. Interrumgon is a small rock and ice planet with a trace atmosphere of methane and ethane. The frozen surface is mainly composed of carbon with deposits of calcium. Interrumgon has been used as a crude anchorage for terminus pirates for many years. The shells of temporary dwellings blasted by Alliance frigate patrols dot the surface, but always the pirates return to ground their ship's drive charges, chip out some water ice, and trade slaves and stories. The deeper layers of Interrumgon's interior are semi-liquid slush due to the presence of methanol. It is thought that bacterium in the deep's core create this natural antifreeze. Some species of terminus pirate drill through the ice crust to recover this natural alcohol. Scans from orbit have detected a deposit of cobalt. Junthor. Junthor is a large terrestrial planet with a thick atmosphere of carbon dioxide and chlorine. The surface is mainly composed of aluminum with deposits of nickel. Surveyors found the ruins of a technical civilization near the equator, evidently the colony of an ancient spacefaring race. The ruins had subsided to almost nothing, merely wind-hollowed husks of archaeologies and other megastructures. In the center of the ruins was a single column whose inscriptions defied translations for several centuries. When Asari linguists finally managed a translation, the elaborate relief carvings said merely, "Walk among these works and know our greatness." The crude scratches on base of the reverse side said, "Monsters from the ID." Scans revealed a wrecked freighter orbiting one of Thor's smaller moons. A recon team found no signs of life, but they did recover one of Matriarch Delenaga's writings. Soglarus, whatever. Soglarus is a small terrestrial planet with a thin atmosphere of nitrogen and argon. The frigid surface is mainly composed of water ice, which can be plainly seen in the bottoms of recent craters. The dark coloration of the surface is caused by a carbon and ferrous material, pushed up from the denser core by cryovolcanic processes. And then lastly, Rayan Gree. Rayan Gree is a small barren terrestrial world. While it possesses a reasonably temperate climate and number of useful resources, no mining corporation is willing to risk investment. A rogue planetoid dubbed VATS by the initial Solarian surveyor team entered the system approximately 10,000 years ago and was trapped in a decaying orbit around Rayan Gree. It is nearing the end of its slow spiral inwards. Earthquakes and cyclonic windstorms are increasingly common on Reingri. Within a few hundred years, the planets will rip each other apart. Samosari travel consortiums have already announced sponsorship of cruises to observe this spectacle. Let's land. And then Liara and Garrus. Alright. Liara, you got 6. Let's go with Singularity. Okay. Oh, she has no electronics. Oops. Whoops. God damn it. Garrus, you only got 4. Let's see. Finish off first aid. And then, oh, he has no electronics either. But maybe some armor for him. I doubt she can, yeah, she can't even wear any armor. But Garrus. Okay. Let's see. What does Garrus use? Assault and sniper, and what does Liara use? Pistols and shotguns, I believe. Prodigy 4 Bionic Amp. I mean, we'll keep Solar's Amp because I'm not sure what power bonus does. Okay. Debris, Overrun Research Outpost, and Anomaly. Damn it, they're all on the opposite end. We'll go with Debris first, I guess. So we got everybody leveled up, and everybody kind of decked out in everything we can, or could. We need to find armor for Liara, if there is better armor at the moment. I'm not sure. I don't think I have her spec'd into armor. Tally, we don't have any armor yet, and we really don't have very good armor, I don't think. That's what I was afraid of. That's why I bring Tally and Garrus all the time. Well, I have Garrus, but I need Tally. Unfortunately, you can't just be like, you can't just swap out people. You gotta go back to the ship, then come back here. It's really too bad that just your collective attributes can't, like, I don't know, point to it. I know that would kind of be a little too OP, because if you did kind of what I did and split everything up, like one person, well actually two people I think have electronics maxed out, and then everybody has at least one of the other things maxed out, besides the weapons. You can just literally do everything after the first few level ups, but it just sucks to have to find out you can't get to something because your team is a little too low, or you know, the squad that you chose to bring is a little too low leveled. We'll go ahead and just do that one. Because I don't want to drive all the way back, all the way down, minerals, to the anomaly, and then drive all the way back. That would be dumb. Unless this is an underground thing, which I've learned my lesson. We'll save it. Jesus, this was a pain in the ass to get to. Well, I guess not if you went this way first. Which... yeah, if we were to went to the anomaly. Much closer. I wish consoles had quick save. You could just make it the frickin' that button. Or the options button, since you literally don't use that for anything. Or I don't. Plants. All right. Ah, we got us. Did we just level up? Oh. Master of Soul Training. Alright, now... tactical armor, I think, to give us some better armor. Oh, she doesn't have any armor, actually. God damn it, I hate these rooms. They're so big and mazy. But they have like nothing in them usually. Alright, we got a door there.
Hostile spotted.
That's not a problem with this gun. jammed. That's weird. I see enemies, but there was no other place to go, I don't think. Oh, there's more. More came back in here, okay. Whoa. Oh shit.
Patching you up.
They just like charged. Well, that was weird. Did we do it?
I expected one of these outposts to be the main base of operations for this incursion.
Hold on. This receiver's picking up some kind of transmission. Based on the signal strength, I'd say it's coming from inside this star cluster.
It must be a message from the primary Geth base. We can use the signal to lock onto its location and take them out.
Okay. Find and destroy the main Geth base of operations in the Grissom system of the Armstrong Nebula cluster in order to stop the Geth incursion. First, need to get to this anomaly. Got some minnows. What the hell is that noise? Oh, something else over there as well. Well, that was nowhere near where it was, but... whatever that is.
Just lead the way.
Securing point.
Medallion. This downed pod contained a League of One medallion. Its owner is nowhere to be found. The scavengers who made this camp are gone. They seem to have abandoned it abruptly some time ago. Back to the Normandy. Yep. Oh, here's another one. Grissom. Got 2 asteroid belts. Rocky asteroid. First one on the outer belt. Composed of mixed metals and silicates. Deposit of Polonia. Nothing. Benda. Benda has a dense atmosphere of sulfur dioxide and chlorine. Though technically classified as a terrestrial world, but the surface of the planet has never cooled enough for a crust to form. It is a global sea of molten rock. Like Xerox, its atmosphere is being blasted away by the solar wind. Once its thick atmosphere is gone, Benda's surface will be a mere 400 degrees Celsius. Scans of Benda uncovered an ancient Solarian vessel. A small team was dispatched to search for valuables. The only item of value recovered was a League of One medallion. Xerox. Xerox's nitrogen-argon atmosphere is being blasted away by the solar wind of the blue giant Grissom. Its surface consists of seas of loose silica dust, some kilometers deep, which periodically swirl into global sandstorms. Many unmanned probes to Xerox have been lost over the years, though investigation has attributed all to mechanical failure or computational error. A popular extranet meme insists the entire planet is composed of dormant nanotechnology, created millennia ago by a race even more advanced than the Protheans. According to the story, Xerox's silica dust is actually disassembler robots with periodically awaken to defend themselves. Though discounted by every reputable scientist, this theory has been popularized by a series of sensationalistic texts by a sorry author, Delsey Orthisa. While scanning this planet, you detected a large deposit of beryllium on a small nearby moon. Notaban. Notaban is a hydrogen-helium gas giant with traces of ammonia. Molecular nitrogen is present in the highest levels of the atmosphere, giving the planet its odd violet tint. The upper levels of Notaban's atmosphere are inhabited by shoals of tiny ammonia-based life forms, no larger or more complex than the plankton of Earth's oceans. Held aloft by air pressure and wind, these bioluminescent creatures constantly flee from the approach of the Terminator. What? Should they be exposed to the light and the heat of Grissom, they die. Solchrome, right? Yeah, Solchrome. Oh. Solchrome is the largest moon of the gas giant Notaban. It has a trace atmosphere of krypton and xenon. The crust is composed of various metals with deposits of sodium. As with every body in the solar system, the surface is scorching hot and thoroughly irradiated by the blue giant Grissom. Surface excursions without proper protective gear are certain to prove fatal. On approach to Nota Band, Normandy's passive sensor array intercepted a fragmentary coded transmission from the surface of Fulcrum. Attempts to decrypt the message were fruitless. It does not appear to be in any software coding language used by the Citadel races. Let's land. For this one little side mission, we have to travel to 5 different galaxies. And just so we don't miss stuff, Garrus and Tally. So I think it's decryption that we need Garrus for. Tally is electronics. Okay. Doesn't say. Debris. Alright, so then we'll go like this. Doubt we'll be able to get up here, but whatever. Oh, we did. A sorry capsule. There were several artifacts stored here, all worthless except for one of Matriarch Dilanaga's writings. Whether it was uncovered at the dig site or elsewhere is unclear.
Just lead the way.
Shit. I don't think I got the anomaly on the last place. That's why I do that first usually. Maybe I did. Yeah, because it wasn't the last place, it was the one before that. Okay. Well, it's probably not the proper way, but it's our way. Whoops. God, still hit me. There. I was like, where are we going at? Playing for 18 hours and 19 minutes. Ooh, jammed. That scared me. Does that mean no map at all? No, okay. Okay, so we got this area and then this, which looks like it might go down. Oh god, we got those things. Oof. I love how they're running in. Just die. Oh, what the hell? As the last Geth falls, you hear music from across the room. On the monitor, a Quarian stands before a hushed crowd, warbling a mournful a cappella of worlds and innocence lost. The recorded song is dispatched to the Geth worlds beyond the Perseus Veil. The transmitter shuts down. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but whatever. Geth terminal. You discover a number of encrypted Geth data files. In the proper hands, they could reveal much about the evolution of the Geth since the banishment of the Quarians. Download data. Damn it. Absolutely nothing up here. Oops. Tally and the Geth. Speak to Tally once you are back in the Normandy. Okay. So do we have to...
Message from
yeah,
Admiral
okay.
Hackett, Commander. Patching it through.
We just received your report. Looks like this Geth incursion was bigger than we thought. They were probably preparing for a major offensive in the system. We're increasing patrols in the Armstrong cluster to make sure they can't establish another foothold in the region. Nice job, Shepard. You saved a lot of human lives on this mission. Hack it out.
Hell yeah. No. So before we talk to Tally, let's see if there's anybody else that has anything to say.
Yes, Commander?
Aliens, personal,
Carry on, Presley.
nothing from
Yes, sir.
Presley. Got a codex. Ships and vehicles. Starships, heat management. Dispersal of heat generated by onboard systems is a critical issue for a ship. If it cannot deal with heat, the crew may be cooked within the hull. Radiation is the only way to shed heat in a vacuum. Civilian vessels utilize large, fragile radiator panels that are impossible to armor. Warships use diffuse radiator arrays, DRA, ceramic strips along the exterior of the armored hull. These make the ship appear stripped to thermographic sensors. Since the arrangement of the ships depends on the internal configuration of the ship, the patterns for each vessel are unique and striking. On older ships, the DRA strips could become red or white hot, dubbed tiger stripes, or war paint by humans. The glowing DRA has a psychological impact on pirates and irregular forces. Strip radiators are not as efficient as panels, but if damaged by enemy fire, the ship only loses a small portion of its total radiation capacity. In most cases, a vessel's DRA alone allows it to cruise with no difficulties. Operations deep within a solar system can cause problems. A ship engaged in combat can produce titanic amounts of heat from maneuvering burns and weapons fire. When fighting in a high heat environment, warships employ high-efficiency droplet heat sinks. In a droplet system, tanks of liquid sodium or lithium absorb heat within the ship. The liquid is vented from spray nozzles near the bow as a thin sheet of millions of micrometer scale droplets. The droplets are caught at the stern and recycled into the system. A droplet system can sink 10 to 100 times as much heat as DRA strips. Droplet sheets resemble a surface ship's wake through the water. The wake peels out in sharp turns, spreading a fan of droplets as the ship changes vectors and leaves the coolant behind. Okay. Joker got anything to say?
I prefer gold to silver, you know, for my medal. I figured you'd recommend me for one since I pulled your boots out of the fire.
If we present you with a medal, you'll end up sitting on stage listening to politicians make speeches for a couple of hours. Fun.
That's a good point. They'd probably make me shave, too. I spent the last 7 weeks working on this, baby. No medal's worth that. So, Commander, why don't you tell me why you're really here?
We did that.
How's the Normandy performing? Is she everything
She's
they
the
say?
best ship in the fleet. Balance. The Normandy's probably too much ship for your average Alliance pilot, Commander.
I like to know my crew. Mind if I ask you a few questions?
I can see where this is going.
Okay.
You top of my class in flight school, I earned that. All those commendations.
What are you...
Oh, even put the Normandy in my hands and I'll make her...
I have to go.
All right, see ya.
Alright, see ya. Oh, another thing. Gunnery Station. Ships and vehicles.
Faster than light drop.
Space combat.
Ship mobility dominates space combat. The primary objective is to align the mass accelerator along the bow with the opposing vessel's broadside. Battles typically play out as artillery duels, fought at ranges measured in thousands of kilometers, though assaults through defended mass relays often occur at knife fight ranges, as close as a few dozen kilometers. Most ship-to-ship engagements are skirmishes between patrol vessels of cruiser weight and below, with dreadnoughts and carriers only deployed in full-scale fleet actions. Battles in open space are short and often inconclusive, as the weaker opponent typically disengages. Once a ship enters FTL flight, the combat is effectively over. There are no sensors capable of tracking them, or weapons capable of damaging them. The only way to guarantee an enemy will stand and fight is to attack a location they have a vested interest in, such as a settled world or a strategically important mass relay.
Okay. Another one for the Codex. Ships and vehicles. Space combat. Combat endurance. Heat limits the length and intensity of ship-to-ship combat. Starships generate enormous heat when they fire high-energy weapons, perform maneuvering burns, and run on-board combat electronics. In combat, warships produce heat more quickly than they can disperse it. As heat builds within a vessel, the crewed spaces become increasingly uncomfortable. Before the heat reaches lethal levels, a ship must win or retreat by entering FTO. And after an FTO run, the ship halts, shuts down non-essential systems, and activates the heat radiation gear. Combat endurance varies by ship design and by the battle's location. Battles in the deep cold of interstellar space can go on for some time. Engagements close to a star are brief, since habitable worlds are usually close to a star. Battles over them are frantic. It seems so expensive for these ships. It's like, why in the hell would you even do, fight with it? Okay, that goes down. I don't think there's anything in here. This is the meeting room. That's what that room is. My quarters, anything here? Nothing. Let's talk to Caden.
Anything you need, Commander?
Just trying to get a sense of where the crew's at. Thoughts?
Well, they know about the stonewalling you've had from the Council.
And what do they think?
They're on your side. They're pissed about the resistance we're getting, especially from our side. I'll have a better handle on all of it when my head stops hurting. Another L2 flare-up.
Anything I can do?
No, Commander, it'll settle down. It's rough sometimes, but they spike higher than a lot of L3s. Except for you, of course. Besides, I fared a lot better than some after Kinetics was through.
I haven't heard anything about Kinetics in a while.
Yeah, they quietly disappeared. Broke up into a bunch of little corps after they botched the training on Jump Zero. After first contact, Kinetics was set up to track Element Zero exposures and develop implants for humans. Once we had an embassy on the Citadel, Kinetics could bring in experts instead of taking it slow.
Is there some reason we couldn't learn it on our own?
They didn't know where to start. Hell, it took a couple of years to even link biotics and EZO. Forget trying to get the kids to move stuff. They had trouble just helping them not break their own limbs. And their choice of teachers didn't help much.
The only experts would have to be aliens.
Dead on. Turians, actually. That's why Kinetics kept it a secret. They were afraid of what people back home would think, asking the Turians for help when we just fought a war with them.
The Asari would have been more acceptable than the Turians.
Yes, but the company didn't go through the Citadel. It would have made Earth look weak, so they discreetly hired some Turian mercenaries.
I'm sure Kinetics did what they thought was best.
It wasn't best for us. They brought in an ex-military Turian named Commander Vernus. A real hard-ass. He basically had a free pass to break us if it would turn out a decent biotic. Kinda of spiraled from there, Commander.
Did he ever face charges for that?
He got his, yeah. But like everything else at Jump Zero, it was under the table. The less said, the better. Anyway, this is ancient stuff. I walked it off a long time ago. I should get back to my duties, Commander. We're here to make history, not rehash it.
We'll talk another time, Lieutenant.
Commander?
I don't think I did any of that before.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted, right? I want... But humanity needs the Alliance if we want...
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Nothing new.
I get the feeling you want to ask me something, Commander.
Maybe we could pick up where we left off. You were telling me about your interest in the Protheans.
Actually, I think I was talking about my interest in you, and making a fool of myself in the process. As I said, I am not used to dealing with people, especially humans. I did not really know much about your species when we first met, Shepard. I found it hard to take humanity seriously. Your kind always seemed so rushed and high-strung.
We don't have the luxury of time. And the Asari can live for 1,000 years. We're lucky if we hit 150.
That is true. At first I thought that was a weakness of your species. After spending time with you and your crew, however, I think it may actually be an advantage. You humans are creatures of action. You pursue your goals with an almost indomitable determination. It is an admirable trait, but also an intimidating one.
You're scared of us?
Unfortunately, the rest of the galaxy sees humanity as something of a bully. You run over anyone in your path to get what you want. It is up to people like you to change their minds, Shepard.
Why me?
There is a reason the Council chose you to become a Spectre. They saw something special in you. The best of what humanity has to offer. I looked into your history. I know what happened on Akuz. The fact that you survived shows a remarkable strength.
You didn't need to go behind my back. I would have told you whatever you wanted to know.
I apologize, Commander. After our last conversation, I was afraid I would say something stupid again. I wanted to know more about you. To understand what made you into the man you are. There is something compelling about you, Shepard.
Are you sure you're interested in me? Or is it my visions of the Protheans?
I admit, your connection to the Protheans had something to do with my initial interest, but it has grown beyond that. You intrigue me, Shepard, but I was not sure if it was appropriate to act on my feelings. I thought there might already be a relationship between you and Chief Williams.
You're an alien.
Williams and I are just friends, nothing more.
My mistake.
Yeah, she's kind of racist.
I am not as adept at understanding human relationships as I thought. But what about us, Shepard? Is there a mutual attraction, or was I wrong about that too?
No, you were right. There is something between us.
I knew it, and I knew you felt it too. But does this not seem rather strange? Why do I feel so close to you? We have only known each other a short time. We are from two different species. We have almost nothing in common. This makes no sense.
These things never make sense. They just happen, and we get swept up in the storm.
You make it sound so chaotic, so dangerous.
I'll keep you safe.
I am not looking for a protector. This is all a bit overwhelming. I am not used to this. You. I need some time.
Take all the time you need, Liara. I'll be here.
Thank you, Shepard. Let's just talk about something else for now.
I should go.
Goodbye,
Yeah,
Shepard.
immediately. I'm gonna go. Council races. Asari religion. The pantheistic mainstream Asari religion is Siari, which translates roughly as all is one. The faithful agree on certain core truths. The universe is a consciousness. Every life within it is an aspect of the greater whole, and depth is a merging of one's spiritual energy back into the greater universal consciousness. Siarists don't specifically believe in reincarnation. They believe that spiritual energy returned to the universal consciousness upon death will eventually be used to fill new mortal vessels. Siari became popular after the Asari left their home world and discovered their ability to meld with nearly any form of life. This ability is seen as proof that all life is fundamentally similar. Siari priestesses see their role as promoting unity between the disparate shards of the universe's awareness. Before the rise of Siari pantheism, Asari religions were as diverse as their political opinions. The strongest survivor of those days is the monotheistic religion, worshipping the goddess of Athame. Like the Asari, the goddess cycles through the triple aspects of maiden, matron, and matriarch. Oh yeah, I want to see... We only need 3 more of those. 2 more Asari writings. 5 and 1 more tag. 8, 12, and 6. More of those. 3 more of those. Okay. We're getting them. And we still have 3 more galaxies, I believe. The named ones. Or maybe just 2. Anything else to learn over here? No. Because it seems like some stuff updates. Oh yeah. It's time to go down.
Looking for supplies?
I think we already did those.
Let's see what you've got.
You bet, Commander.
How much money do we even have? 360,000. Okay.
Commander, good to see you.
You've been with CSEC a while. Have you seen much action?
Well, not as much as you, but yeah, I've seen some interesting things.
I'll bet you have. Anything in particular that stands out?
I remember this Solarian geneticist I was sent to investigate. That case was a bit disturbing.
What happened? Why were you investigating them?
I was tasked with tracking black market trade on the Citadel. Most of it harmless, nothing I needed to pursue. But during the course of my investigation, I noticed an increase in the trade of body parts, organs mostly. We usually get a few of those, but not the numbers I was seeing. We weren't sure if there was a new black market lab or if some freak was harvesting organs from citizens.
So what was it?
Both, actually. But it took us a while to figure that out.
So how did you figure out what was happening?
First, we got a hold of a sample and ran DNA tests. The weird thing was, the match led us to a Turian who was still alive and was very convinced he'd never lost his liver. After a bit of digging, I discovered this Turian worked briefly for Dr. Salion, the geneticist. So I went to his lab hoping to find evidence of cloned organ development, but there was nothing. No Solarian hearts, no Turian livers, not one Krogan testicle.
What did you do about the geneticist?
I brought in some of his employees for interrogation, to see if I could get them to talk. While I was interviewing one of them, I came across something suspicious.
Yeah? Go on.
One of my detainees started bleeding profusely during the interview. We offered to patch him up, and he got frantic, freaked out. I ordered a full exam to find out what was going on. Our medics found incisions all over his body, some of them fresh. That was our big break. These people weren't just Dr. Salion's employees. They were test tubes. Walking, living test tubes.
So he was growing spare parts in his own employees.
Exactly. He cloned their organs right inside their own bodies. Then he harvested them and sold them off. Most of the victims were poor. He'd pay them each a small percentage of the sales, but only if the organs were good. Sometimes an organ wouldn't grow properly, so he'd just leave it in them. Most of them were a mess, but only on the inside, hidden so nobody could see it.
I hope he got what he deserved.
That's the worst part. We never caught him.
Damn.
Why not? What the hell happened?
He ran, blew his lab, grabbed some of his employees, and headed for the nearest space dock. By the time I found out, his ship was already leaving. He threatened to kill his hostages if we tried to stop him.
But you went after him anyway, right?
I ordered Citadel Defense to shoot him down, but CSEC headquarters countermanded my order. They were worried about the hostages, worried about civilian casualties if the ship was destroyed so close to the Citadel. I told them those hostages were dead anyway. He just used them to make more organs. But they wouldn't listen.
Well, you can't get them all.
No, but letting him get away like that. All they had to do was disable that ship, stop him from running. Maybe the hostages die, maybe they don't, but at least we stopped the bastard responsible for it all.
A few casualties is a small price to pay to stop someone like that.
Well,
yeah, exactly.
that wasn't really
those
what I meant to
hostages
say.
might be wishing they'd died by now anyway. Just wish I could have stopped him. That's all.
Do you have any idea what happened to Dr. Salion?
I sent out feelers from time to time, hoping to find something. I thought I'd found him a while back. He changed ships and changed his name to Dr. Hart, his idea of a joke, I guess. I told the military, but they weren't convinced it was him. I got the transponder frequency for his new ship, but I just can't get anyone to check it out.
I'll check out the coordinates when I get a chance.
I was hoping you'd say that. But Commander, take me with you when you go. If it's Salion, I want to be there when you find him.
Cool. Turian's biology. The Turian homeworld, Palaven, has a metal-poor core, generating a weak magnetic field and allowing more solar radiation into the atmosphere. To deal with this, most forms of life on Palaven evolved some form of metallic exoskeleton to protect themselves. Their reflective plate-like skin makes Turians less susceptible to long-term, low-level radiation exposure, but they do not possess any sort of natural armor. A Turian's thick skin does not stop projectiles and directed energy bolts. Although life on Palaven is carbon-based and oxygen-breathing, it is built on dextroamino acids. This places the Turians in a distinct minority on the galactic stage. The Quarians are the only other sapient dextroprotein race, the food of humans, Asari, and Solarians, who evolved in levo-amino acid-based biospheres, will at best pass through Turian systems without providing any nutrition. At worst, it will trigger an allergic reaction that can be fatal if not immediately treated. Okay, well, you had a lot to say. The hell's right here? Nothing. Oops.
Oh, before I go, you said you're serving with Commander Shepard now? We saw him on the news here. He's cute. Later, Sith.
Tell me you didn't hear that.
Afraid I did.
Afraid I did.
Oh, shoot me now. One of my sisters. That's Sarah, the youngest. Surprised to see you here, sir. Thought you'd be chatting up, what's her name? T'Soni?
Liara, why would you think that?
Scuttlebutt says you got a bit of a thing for her.
Oh.
I could understand why.
Who told?
Crew's off limits with the regs against fraternization. And at least she looks like a woman.
You think I'm interested in Liara because she's the only one I'm allowed to date?
So you are interested in her. Of course, it could be politics. Alien diplomat's daughter, us under orders to make nice with the bug-eyed monsters. What's up? You didn't come by to eavesdrop on family mail.
Your family seems to be important to you.
Yeah, we've always been close. Me and my sisters especially. With Dad on duty so much, I had to help Mom raise them.
Did your father serve with the fleet?
Yeah, took any crap posting he could get that offered space time. You know what? He worked his ass off trying to get recognized, but he never made it above serviceman 3rd class. He was real proud when I made chief. First thing he did was salute.
What about your mother? You haven't mentioned her.
You must know what military wives are like. Strong because they have to be, able to raise kids while Dad's away on a 6-month cruise. She has a degree in planetary geology. She and Dad both wanted to see new worlds. She gave up her career to raise us, though.
You have more than one sister? Sounds like a big family.
Yeah, I'm the oldest, then Abby, then Lynn. Sarah's the youngest. She's still in high school. With 4 girls, Dad used to say he felt more outnumbered at home than on maneuvers.
After helping raise them, your sisters still talk to you? Amazing.
Things were tense between Sarah and me for a while. Then we bonded.
Sounds like a story. Feel like sharing?
Sarah got herself a boyfriend who wanted to go faster than she did, Mike. I didn't think he was a bad kid, just pushy. Lynn would send me these worried vid mails, and I'd tell her to relax.
Where were you when this was going on?
I was on active duty. Sarah's graduating high school this year. This was only a couple of years back. They were on Amaterasu. At the time, I was assigned to Chernobog. Same cluster, but a dozen Hellwire away. Close enough to talk regularly, too far to make it back in an emergency. I couldn't afford a fast packet flight.
If he really liked her, he wouldn't be pushy.
Yeah, of course. If he didn't ask at all, I'd wonder if he thought Sarah was ugly. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Mike thought they'd go for a romantic walk in the woods, because he figured it was past time they did the deed. She levered Mike face first into a tree and left. Didn't have a scratch on her. Good thing Mom and Dad had us all learn some kind of self-defense. I took emergency leave and walked Sarah to school for a few days.
You traveled all the way home to walk your sister to school.
It was only a dozen light years, like a day's cruise. It's not like I was going to Earth or something. My last day out, Mike was waiting for us. Sarah had told her friends, so everyone at school knew what he did. He wasn't happy. I wanted to snap him in half, but Sarah gave me this look, this, let me handle it, I need to do this alone look. She kept her cool, God bless her, as he screamed in her face. She just let him vent. Then he tried to punch her. I swear, she just flowed around him. Next thing I knew, he's face down on the sidewalk, and there's blood everywhere.
That's unbelievable. Sarah must be as good as you.
Better. I'm more or less a straight-up puncher. When he swung, she wasn't there anymore, and he fell. She helped him stop the bleeding and had me call an ambulance. She told the paramedics he fell. Before they took him to the hospital, Mike touched Sarah's arm. I thought he was gonna end up on the ground again. But he hung his head, whispered, "I'm sorry," and started crying. And she hugged him. The Williams women are a decisive bunch, Commander. We do things when we're ready. Not before, not after.
Your sister's something else. But you didn't mention your father at all. Was he on deployment?
Dad always wanted to serve in space, but he wanted us to have real ground under our feet. He'd say, space is beautiful, but you can't raise a family there. I cannot rest from travel. I will drink life to the lees. All times I've enjoyed greatly, have suffered greatly, both with those that loved me and alone. For always roaming with a hungry heart, much have I seen and known, cities of men and manners, climates, councils, governments.
I never thought I'd hear you reciting poetry.
Just because I can drill you between the eyes at 100 meters doesn't mean I can't like sensitive stuff. Just don't spread it around.
That was so defensive.
This was my dad's favorite poem. Every time he shipped out, he recorded me reading it. He had a dozen versions when he retired.
Does he still like it?
I sure hope so. I read it to his grave every time I go home. Dad passed on a few years back. He's probably still watching, though. So behave.
You mean from wherever we go after death?
Dead on, Skipper. He's with God now. That's not a problem with you, is it? That I believe in God?
No.
Everyone has the right to believe what they want. Says so in the Alliance Charter. Only with fancier words.
I'm glad you're open-minded about it. I've met a few people who are really weirded out by my faith. Because I work in space, I can't believe in a higher power? Jeez. Hello, have you people looked out the window? How can you look at this galaxy and not believe in something? I should get back to my duties. Didn't mean to take up so much of your time.
What's your opinion on the last mission?
Not sure I buy Dr. Tassoni's story about her and her mom not talking. They're family, right?
I think she's
We
being...
did this
Hey,
part.
want me to ask her about her sex life? Might be illuminating.
I don't think she's you.
Too bad those ruins got destroyed. I mean, they lasted thousands of years.
We'll talk later, Williams.
Looking forward to...
Codex. Humanity and the Systems Alliance. Systems Alliance Military Doctrine. The Alliance military is of great concern to the galaxy. At first contact with the Turians, they were completely inexperienced. Turian disdain changed to respect after the relief of Shanxi, where the humans surprised them with novel technologies and tactics. The human devotion to understanding and adapting to modern space warfare stunned the staid council races. For hundreds of years, they had lived behind secure walls of long-proven technologies and tactics. The council regards the Alliance as a sleeping giant. Less than 3% of humans volunteer to serve in their military, a lower proportion than any other species. While competent, Alliance soldiers are neither as professional as the Turians nor as skilled as the Asari. Their strengths lie in fire support, flexibility, and speed. They make up for lack of numbers with sophisticated technical support, VIs, drones, artillery, electronic warfare, and emphasis on mobility and individual initiative. Their doctrine is not based on absorbing and dishing out heavy shocks like the Turians and Krogan. Rather, they bypass enemy strong points and launch deep into their rear, cutting supply lines and destroying headquarters and support units, leaving enemies to wither on the vine. On defense, the human military is a rapid reaction force that lives by Sun Tzu's maxim, "He who tries to defend everything defends nothing." Garrisons are intended for scouting rather than combat, avoiding engagement to observe and report on invaders using drones. The token garrisons of human colonies make it easy for alien powers to secure them, for which the Alliance media criticizes the military. However, the powerful fleet stationed at phase gate nexuses, such as Arcturus, are just a few hours or days from any colony within their sphere of responsibility. In the event of an attack, they respond with overwhelming force.
Do it, Skipper.
Rex.
What do you want, Shepard?
Why did you become a mercenary?
Lots of reasons.
Such as?
Such as, I needed to get out of our system. I needed to eat. I needed to survive.
Why not stay and help your people?
I tried to help. That's why I had to leave.
What happened?
I was betrayed. I was head of a small tribe. We were trying to restore order after the war, but the other tribes were against us. They followed Jared, one of the few warlords who survived the war with the Turians. But he was old, and so were his ideas. He wanted to continue the war. He wanted us to fight. Turians, Solarians, each other. It didn't matter who, as long as we were fighting.
What did you want?
I just wanted Jared to shut up, to stop his ranting. I wanted him to stop leading the tribes astray. But he couldn't understand how much things had changed. We didn't have the numbers to go to war. Even if we did, the genophage made sure we couldn't replenish our numbers fast enough. I told them all to forget about war. We needed to focus on breeding, at least for one generation. And for a while, we were getting through. some of the tribes started coming around.
I take it the warlord didn't appreciate that.
No, he didn't. He arranged a crush with the tribes. A meeting on neutral ground. He wanted to talk. We met at the Hollows, near the graves of our ancestors. The skulls of our dead laid bare to remind us where we come from and where we all go. It's as sacred as any Krogan place can be. Violence is forbidden.
It sounds like a trap to me. You must have suspected as much.
I did. But when your father invites you to a crush, well, there are some laws that even we hold sacred.
Jared was your father?
He was. Until that day. We talked, but we didn't get anywhere. When it was clear that I wouldn't join him, he gave the signal. His men leapt from the graves of our ancestors like Krogan undead. The few that were loyal to me died quickly. I escaped with my life, but not before I sank my dagger deep into my father's chest. That is why I left, and that's why I'll never go back.
Are your people really dying?
We already know this.
We're sure not getting. We're too spread out. None of us are interested in staying in our own system.
You must have family other than your father. Don't you miss them?
No. Now that I have my family's armor again, there's nothing left for me.
So long, Rex.
Shepard.
Krogan culture. The harsh Krogan homeworld conditioned the Krogan psychology for toughness, just as it did the body. Krogan have always had a tendency to be selfish, unsympathetic, and blunt. They respect strength and self-reliance and are neither surprised nor offended by treachery. The weak and selfless do not live long. In their culture, looking out for number one is simply a matter of course. After their defeat in the rebellions, the very concept of Krogan leadership was discredited. Where a warlord could once command enough power to bring entire solar systems to heel and become overlord, these days it is rare for a single leader to have more than 1,000 warriors swear allegiance to him. Most Krogan trust and serve no one but themselves. This solitary attitude stems in part from a deep sense of fatalism and futility, a profound social effect of the genophage that caused Krogan numbers to dwindle to relative handful. Not only are they angry that the entire galaxy seems out to get them, the Krogan are also generally pessimistic about their race's chances of survival. The surviving Krogan see no point to building for the future. There will be no future. The Krogan live with an attitude of kill, pillage, and be selfish, for tomorrow we die. God damn.
Something I can do for you, Commander.
Where else have you served, Adams?
You name a class of... My last assignment was on the Tokyo.
Carry on, Adams.
We've heard all his stuff. And Tally.
Shepard, I need to talk to you. It's important.
Is something wrong?
You know the data you took from those Geth control nodes? The information you uploaded to Alliance Control? I want a copy of it.
You want to bring this data back to the migrant fleet?
Those files have information that could be vital to our efforts to understand the Geth. It could be the key to helping us reclaim our homeworld.
You think you can use this information to destroy your enemy?
Not right away. We will need to study it. It could take years, but it will give us new insight into how the Geth have changed and evolved over the past centuries.
Go ahead. Make a copy.
My people, I owe you a great debt, one I can never repay. The only thing I can offer in return is what you already have. My solemn promise to stay with you until Saren and his Geth armies are defeated.
I never wanted anything more.
Thank you, Shepard.
Hey. We'll go back up to the map and just see what we're gonna do next. I think we only have like one side thing we can do. So, yeah, assignments. We have Garrus, his thing. Garrus gave the coordinates of Dr. Salian's last known whereabouts. Head to the Herschel system in the Kepler Verge. Whoops. Which the Kepler Verge we have been to, so there must be something else there. Espionage probe. This one I don't understand why it's still here, unless we're going to find Hallie at some point. That's at the Citadel. And then this one is back at the Citadel. So we have one more. So when we come back, we're going to do this one. We have to be Herschel system in the Kepler Verge. I'm just going to look at that real quick. So that's this one right here. Yeah, Herschel system. So this is a new one. Okay. So when we come back, we're going to do this. Go ahead and save it. My buttons aren't working again. There we go. Okay. How long have I been playing? 19 hours. Okay. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Have a great day and I'll see you. Bye.